Well, Washington, D.C., now the fastest growing murder capital in America. For 274 people were killed in D.C. this past year, making it the highest annual number of homicides in that city since '97. Deadlier than 55 of the country's 60 most popular cities. Now, they realize that defunding the police was maybe just a little bit of a mistake. D.C. officials, they're considering expanding pretrial detention for adults and youths. Told you so. They're also considering enhanced penalties for gun-related crimes. Also told you so. Reviving the anti-loitering and drug-free zones. Might have mentioned that one before, too. Police to randomly search people charged with violent offenses. Weird. Someone named Rudy Giuliani came up with that, too. Newsmax host Alison Maloni and Patrick Dorinson, the Sense Cowboy, join me now. Patrick, it takes this much violence and hate and pain for them to finally realize that their policies suck.
Well, you know, this once again goes to what Democrats love to always talk about called root causes. Let's go to the root cause. And you know what the number one root cause is? 50 years ago in 1973, Washington, D.C. was granted home rule. So they could have a mayor and a city council and all that other stuff that your normal cities do. Forget it. We're done. The federal government, Congress, has got to reassert its power over the city of Washington, and they've got to institute some kind of martial law on the streets of that city and take control. This is ridiculous. You have a city government that can't even get out of its own way and couldn't spell cat if you spotted them the C and the A. Get rid of these people and take over.
Yeah, exactly. Allison, I mean, look, you got kids. You got to raise people in environments like this.
The city's a mess, right? And this just isn't D.C. This is a lot of these blue cities, Chicago, Austin, Texas. You see this happen in cities where they want to defund the police. I mean, Carl, you and I are parents. What happens if your kid misbehaves, right? They get punished. There's consequences for committing a crime, but yet we have these lawmakers, we have these people in these blue cities that think, you know, the criminals have more rights than the victims. I mean, this violence that's happening, it's not just gang violence. Remember that 10-year-old girl who was murdered? She was shot in her car on Mother's Day.
Yeah, horrible.
We had the lawmaker, the Democratic lawmaker, who was carjacked. This is happening not just in bad parts. This is happening everywhere. I pulled some headlines just over the weekend, right? So a woman was murdered in a hotel, 18-year-old found dead. Multiple shootings leave 1 dead, 11 injured. Carjacking. I mean, this was just in one day.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are the police even doing down there? But Patrick, KJP, the spin doctor herself, said earlier today about this on the economy.
Two words that I'm going to give you that we're going to continue to do as it relates to the economy is continue to lower costs. And that has been at the center of Bidenomics.
What?
Oh, boy, I'll tell you.
It's like 17% up.
I don't know how this woman gets her hat on with her head screwed on so wrong. Look, this thing is a mess. They're trying to sell this stinking pile called Bidenomics. And they're claiming that Joe Biden has done so much for America. Well, yeah, he has. He's made inflation absolutely terrible for the American people. He's made a border that's wide open. He's made crime rampant, as we just talked about. And he's made us having sand kicked in our face by every tin-horn dictator in the world. So I'm sorry, KJP. I got two words for you. You are stupid. Well, that's actually 3.
Yeah. But Allison, look, you've spent a lifetime in PR trying to spin things that are sometimes not great.
Right.
But, I mean, A, she's got the worst job in the world, but she's really bad at it.
Well, I mean, how can you spin this, right? Because numbers don't lie. So you can continue to tell Americans that things are getting better, but people are seeing their bills, their monthly bills. You're seeing how much your credit card interest rate is. You're trying to put food on the table. You know, while gas prices are down slightly, they're still higher than when President Trump was in office. I mean, you can't lie to the American people. They see it.
Well, you can, but we know they're lying.
But people beyond Republicans are not believing her. I mean, if you go on social media and you see these young kids, like younger 20s, they're saying, like, I can't afford things. So they're losing the young voters. They're losing Hispanic voters. They're losing black voters. They're losing so many voters. So while, you know, Republicans say, you know, this isn't true, I think a lot of Democrats are believing that it's not true, too.
Yeah, no, it's shocking to me. Patrick, these pro-Palestinian protesters who continue to one-up themselves on stupidity, they released a balloon at JFK in order to shut down all airport traffic. Now, look, if I fly my drone into restricted airspace, they're going to come after me with everything they got. But these guys, seemingly nothing happens.
This is an act of terror. I don't care what anybody says. This is an act of terror. If that thing gets sucked into an intake on a jet or something, we've got a plane crash and people are going to get killed. Again, enough is enough. When are the people who are supposed to be responsible in this country going to stand up and say, no? If these people are on some kind of green card or visitor's visa, deport them tomorrow. And all these other young kids who think it's fashionable to wear a keffiyeh around their neck, arrest them. We've got to start reasserting authority in America in 2024. And I hope come November we get somebody in office who's going to say, guess what? Time to get back to normal.
Yeah. But Alison, the Vatican, okay, this has become, look, I'm not Catholic. I hold religious beliefs, but not in conventional religion. So that said, I've been really disheartened by the slip of the Vatican recently. Pope Francis is now saying that he's chosen diversity in the church, and his prayer intention for the month of January is saying, quote, diversity and unity were already very much present in the first Christian community. Like, why is this a focus? Like, just be diverse and don't talk about it. Who cares?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we see the Catholic Church, we see, the Pope change. This isn't really the Catholic Church that, I grew up with. I did go to Catholic school, and, diversity and unity and all of that's important. But there's so many other things that I think the Catholic Church should be focusing on, and not that. I mean, everybody should be included. But when you're starting to put a lot of focus on that, you kind of seem like you're going down the slippery slope of what we see companies do. It's just, I don't think it's a good thing that they should be doing
apart.
this. Yeah.
Patrick, we were talking about Claudine Gay and the president of Harvard and how she's resigned. And I said, you know what? Could this be a cover-up for the fact that the Epstein client list was supposed to drop today?
Well, it could be. I bet you there's a lot of Harvard graduates who are on the Epstein client list.
Yeah,
Look,
actually there are.
This woman is the beginning of the end of DEI in America. Her resignation.
I sure hope so.
And you know something? It couldn't come a moment too soon. But it's not enough. Start ripping this out root and branch. No more degrees in ethnic studies. No more degrees in gender studies. No more diversity officers. Fire them all. Put them in the unemployment line. Start reasserting that a university's purpose is to teach people how to think.
Yeah, think and do jobs that can pay off the loans they take out. Alison Maloni, Patrick Dorinson, pleasure.